welcome back. So today I wanted to share with you my first impression kind of swatching and demonstration using the Hard Candy Natural Eyes little eyeshadow palette. Picked this up at Walmart for $8. It was either $8 or $9. I'll write it on the screen somewhere which one it was. But it comes like this. They have 3 of them to choose from. But the one that caught my eye was the Natural Eyes one, because it looked a lot like the Too Faced one that everybody has, but it comes with this mirror. It comes with an eyeshadow primer up here, 9 eyeshadows, 4 of which are matte, a little double-ended sponge applicator, an eyebrow pencil in the shade black, and a little booklet that gives you not only the names to the eyeshadows, but like little impromptu how-tos, you know, kind of how to use a palette or whatever. So this just fell out, so it must be one to be talked about, but it's just the standard double-ended sponge tip applicator. I don't use those. I don't think anybody really does at this point. So it also comes with this itty-bitty little black pencil. I haven't used it because I'm not a real big fan of black pencils. I don't know, I find myself rarely ever lining my eyes, so I will swatch it for you. Oh my god. Like, look. Boop. Well, that was kind of bad, but this goes on really creamy, actually. I wasn't expecting that. That's really cool. I was expecting it to, like, tug and, like, pull and stuff, but it's actually very creamy. It's called Take Me Out Liner. So, I don't know if you can purchase, like, a full size of this or whatever, but I don't know. It says soy right here. I don't know if that's the color or what they were going for, but it just says soy right there. It's black, that's all I know. And it also comes with this eye primer. I did in the video or demo tutorial thing that you will see after this, I did compare this to like a moussey type product. It is silicone-y, but it's moussey in that the fact that it's very light. But you will see in the video exactly what it looks like. But this is just the Eyes the Limit eyeshadow primer. It comes in this nice little squeeze tube. Pretty good size for traveling and for keeping in this palette. The other thing that I really liked about this palette too was that like it was just so compact, and you have all of these great eyeshadows in here for like vacationing or whatever. And then before we get into the eyeshadows, I'm going to show you the little book it comes with. So it comes with this little Look Pro how-to style guide, which is great for beginners, you know, somebody just starting out in makeup. But they come with all of these little drawing things. Whew, I just sneezed, so my eyes might be a little bit watery. And on the back it shows like a real eye, but with like photoshopped shadows on. So the only thing I don't really like is that the eyeshadow names are on here as opposed to the palette. So that kind of makes it frustrating. That means I have to keep this in reference for like a tutorial or something. So at least it comes with this, so like when I am doing a tutorial I can specifically say what it is I'm using as opposed to just describing the shadow color. So I mean, I like that in that regard. So moving right along to the swatches, I'm trying to get in frame and not blind you. The top row is all matte, and then this shade right here is matte. Everything else is shimmery slash little bit glittery. These two are glittery, and then the two right beside it, and then this one are just shimmery. Not really huge chunks of glitter come out, but these two are very glittery. So I'm just going to swatch them going horizontally. Here is the first row, and oh my goodness, can you say pigmentation? I was honestly not expecting this, you know, coming from Hard Candy, and especially coming from a drugstore that's dealing with matte shades. It's just, you know, unbelievable, right? So here are the first 3 shadows. As you can see, they are very pigmented, and they are very soft, very buttery, and just all around really great eyeshadows. So these are the next 3 eyeshadows in the palette going horizontally. So these 3 are the next 3 eyeshadows that go horizontally in the palette, and all of this is done without a primer on. So with a primer, these are very much so intensified, and if you wet them, I'm pretty sure they're more intensified. But this shade right here that I'm trying to go over, it's not all that dark, so, or all that pigmented, so it may need a little help. So here are the next three in the palette going horizontally. So these three right here were the next three that I just did, and all but the ones that I mentioned had the glitter in it, which was this one and this one. Those don't show up all that well without a primer, but with a primer, I am pretty sure they show up better. But the ones that I said were shimmery, which were this one, and this one, those show up pretty good too, like without a primer or anything. And in this one, and these three down here are all the matte ones. You may not be able to see this one all that well because it matches my skin tone pretty well. But this is all of the 9 shadows that are in this palette. One thing, I'm like standing up, creeping over here, but like one thing I wanted to mention were that these two, the ones that I said were shimmery, it looked like there was an overspray of glitter, and now that I've gotten through that, they seem to work a little bit better. But when I initially got this palette and swatched it for the first time, it did have a bunch of glitter on the top, but now that I've swatched it, all that glitters kind of went away. So I'm thinking that was just an overspray. Nonetheless, they are still glittery. But here is just a final close-up of the palette. And of course, I don't have the Too Faced one that people are claiming this is a dupe for. But for $8, and you're getting all of this stuff, I think that's a great deal, especially for the pigmentation that you're getting, especially like at a drugstore. So I'll just do really close-up of all of these swatches in here. And once again, these are all done using no primer of any sort. So, I mean, they are very good. But overall, this is a fantastic palette, and I would recommend it to anybody who likes these natural kind of shades. Because, let me sit back down. But like if you were going on vacation or whatever and you just need something quick that you can do like a simple eye look with, this is actually perfect for that. One thing I wanted to mention before I went into the tutorial was that there is supposed to be a plastic sheet over this when you do buy it in the store. If there's not a plastic sheet over it, be warned because there is supposed to be one. And about the palette in itself that I did forget to mention, it is like a tin, of course, and it does have a magnetized lid, so it's not going to like pop open, especially if you're using it for vacation. You don't have to worry about it popping open and like getting everywhere. But yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right into the tutorial. Like I said, it was my first time using it on my eyes. The only thing I have done is just swatched it, so the tutorial is all done being put on my eyes for the very first time, so keep that in mind, and I hope you enjoy the tutorial. So I'm first going to take the primer that comes in the kit and prime my eyes. So the color looks like this of that primer. I thought it was going to be clear or something, but it's actually a little bit tinted. And it's pretty mousse-like. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it looks pretty mousse-like. So I'm just putting that all over the eyes. It goes on pretty smooth. It reminds me of just a silicone face primer, but a little bit more of that mousse texture. And now, just to make sure that is buffed in really well, I'm taking the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush, and I'm just going to buff that over my eyes real quick to make sure it's seamlessly blended in. Alright, and to set my primer, which I always do, I'm just taking a skin-toned eyeshadow, or flesh-toned. So if you are darker than me, obviously you would need a darker powder, but if you are the same skin tone as me, the ones that are labeled nude typically do the job. And I'm taking that on a Flower eyeshadow brush. I don't know if that is the like actual name to this brush. I got it in a kit and it just said eyeshadow brush. So I'm just taking that powder and running it from my brow bone all the way down to my lash line and inner corner. I always do this step because I like to set my primer, because I find if I prime my eyes and then put an eyeshadow on top of it and try to blend it, it just looks really streaky. So by doing this, it gives the eyeshadow powders a chance to blend out on top of the powder I'm putting on right now, as opposed to a sticky primer. Alright, now going into this kit, I am taking Chatty, which is this shade right here, and I'm using an e.l.f. crease brush. I'm just going to take that and buff it into the crease as my transition shade. And these powders are super soft. I don't know if you'll be able to see, it's this one right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see all the powder that's kicked up from it. And I'm not going in there really harsh or anything. I'm just dipping the brush in there very gently, and it is kicking up that much powder. Alright, now I'm taking this eyeshadow crease brush. That's what it's called. Got it at Icing forever ago. So I don't even know if they still make this or whatever, but any giant crease brush will do the job. Or not giant, but fluffy rather. And I'm just going in there and quickly blending out that color. Now I'm going to go in this shade, which is called Toying. It's a little bit darker than the shade I just used. And I'm going back in with that e.l.f. crease brush. And that is going in the crease. I'm not bringing it below the crease, I'm keeping it right in the crease and slightly above it. And bringing it into the inner part of my eye just a little bit. And I'm going to go back in with that blending brush and blend out the lines. I'm not blending it down, I'm blending it up to create a nice haze. Now I'm going to go in Minx, which is the darkest brown in this palette, and again on the e.l.f. crease brush, I am just putting that at the outer corner of my eyes and then bringing it in halfway, so not past this point of my eye right here. Because I don't want a really dark eye look, I just want, you know, something simple. And then go in once more with that blending brush. Blend out everything. Make sure there's no harsh lines anywhere. Now to put over the rest of my eyelid that has no color, I'm taking the color Tease, which is a little bit whiter than the shade I used all over my lid, so it's going to give me a brighter look. And I'm going back in with that flower brush I used earlier, and then taking a little bit and putting it on the eyelid where there's no brown. It's a good idea, especially with these shadows, if you bump off the excess, because there is quite a bit of excess because they are super silky and powdery. But these colors are pigmented. Now I'm going to go back in with that blending brush again and taking the first color we used, which was Chatty. Just taking a little bit of that and then blending it all throughout the crease. Right above where those shadows blend into. And that's just going to pull everything back together, since that was the first shade we put down. Now I'm taking the shade Philander, which is this one right here, and I'm going to take that on this Real Techniques accent brush, and I'm just going to slightly line my upper lash line with that. I just want a soft line. Just something to help define my lash line for when I put mascara on later. And I'm not going very far in with this eyeliner, only about halfway through. Because I found if I go further in than about halfway in, it closes my eye up, which I do not want. So that's it for the upper part of my eyes. Now moving on to the bottom part of my eyes. I'm taking this brush that came in the Pinkadot set from BH Cosmetics. I forgot what this brush is specifically called. I'll write it down below. And I will be taking these two shadows and running it underneath my lower lash line. And right here at the outer corner, I just bring up that shadow and connect it to the top so it all flows together. And I'm going back in once more with the e.l.f. crease brush. And I'm picking up Chatty, which was that first color we used, and just smoking everything out underneath my lash line. And the last eyeshadow I'm going to take is, I don't know because I put the pamphlet up. And the last shadow I'm going to take is this one right here called Bashful. And I'm taking that on this Modern Minerals pointed brush. I don't remember the name exactly. I'll have it down below. And so I'm just taking a little bit of that shade and putting it right here in the inner corner for my highlighter. So that gives a nice highlight, but I like an intense highlight. So I'm going into the shade right next to it, which is called Girly. Just taking a little bit of that. Oh yeah, that's better. And I'm putting that on the inside of my eyes. I mean, Girly is a great shade in itself if you want something subtle, but girl, when it comes to highlighters, subtle ain't in my vocabulary. I'm also going to take that and put it right above my lip right here. I already had highlighter there, but it doesn't matter. There's no rules. Now I'm just going to pop on some mascara, and I'm using the Tarina Tarantino one, and here is what the brush looks like. And I will admit, I do not like this mascara, but I'm going to try to use it up until it's all gone. But I can tell you right now, I'm not a fan. Alright, so that is how I created the look I was wearing today. In it is very just neutral, you know, you could wear whatever lip you wanted to with it, and that's what I love about it the most. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope I covered everything really well. Also, if you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. Also, if you do have this eyeshadow palette or any of the other colors, write me down below and tell me your thoughts about it. Or if you have any other requests for like future videos, future reviews, anything like that, write me down below. Also, if you're not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so you can stay tuned for my next future videos and all that other fun stuff. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all. So I don't even know if you're going to be able to tell the difference between the $10 eyebrow and the $21 eyebrow, because I think they both are the exact same. So with that being said, the NYX Micro Brow Pencil is only $10, well, $9.99, might as well say $10.